Welcome to the podcast series, Small Business Survival Conversations. Through our weekly conversations, we hope to provide you with strategies and insights, knowledge and expertise to enlighten you as you work to build and grow your business. Here are your hosts, Anna Steinfest and Dr. Michael Troyer.
Hi, everyone. It's Michael Troyer. We're so glad to have you with us today. And I'm with my colleague, Anna Steinfest. Hi, Anna.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being with us.
Today, we want to go back and talk about an ongoing topic that's really very, very important when you're a small business owner. It's effective financial management for that business of yours to keep it healthy and to keep it growing. So we're going to touch on some subjects we touched on before, but we always have new things to offer, as you'll see. So let's start it out. We always believe that you need to have a budget.
Yes,
right, Alan?
Absolutely, Michael. And not only have a budget, but sticking to the budget. It's very important, or reviewing the budget and see if at the beginning of the year you already created a budget, you have to make sure that you're looking at the budget and you're comparing it with your actual expenses. Because the budget not usually, but it helps your business plan for all the expenses and kind of helps you also allocate resources more efficiently and try to avoid overspending, because sometimes, if we don't look at the budget often enough, we kind of overspend in certain areas, or if you're overspending, you have to adjust the total.
And I really want to jump all over those because I think they're so important. You just can't do it day by day. Gee, I'll do this, I'll do that. You need that budget to guide you. You can't be kind of do things unexpectedly or unthought through. So you got to plan your expenses, as Anna says. That's so important. A budget is a plan. Keep that in mind. You need to be sensible about how you allocate those resources. What's the most important way in which you can spend your few dollars right now? So the allocation is really critical, and the budget pushes you to do that. And then that third thing, avoid overspending. Think of your family. If you have children or a spouse or partner, they're always coming to you and say, could we spend this on that? Well, no, wait a minute. Think about it. Are you going to overspend this month? Is it a good idea? Is it worth doing that because you're moving your business or your family situation ahead? Or do you need to think about holding it for a little bit later? So the budget helps you to avoid that quick, sudden, oh, gee, let's do that. Maybe it wasn't such a good idea afterwards. So as I just told you, plan, allocate, avoid overspending.
And especially for some of you who have a seasonal business, extremely important. You'll have time where you'll be very slow, and you'll have time where the revenue is coming in. Make sure that you allocate certain expenses and allocate the revenues during that time, and the fluctuation of the whole period of time. You need to have a budget to make sure that you avoid this fluctuation. And we would like to share some of the tools available right now, which will help you. We know that QuickBooks, I know probably a lot of you are using QuickBooks to make sure that, you populate a lot of your entries, and that will help you with budgeting. And there is Mint, there is Wave, there is few tools on the market you should be utilizing, because that will automate and will give you better financial picture.
And if you're doing that budgeting right, you've also got a little line item called reserve. So if you've got a seasonal business and it's really hot from, say, May through October, but then things are going to go really sour for a while, that's just the nature of the business you're in. You got to have that reserve to carry you through those slow months. So that's all part of budgeting. And these tools that Anna's mentioned can help you do that, because they will pick up on what your seasons are after they gather a bit of information from you about what the past looks like. They, particularly AI, can say, okay, now we know you've got a season. Here's how to prepare for it and how to get through the off season.
And all this budgeting, it goes to our next tip about the importance of managing cash flow to make sure that you are avoiding shortfalls. It is very important to have a positive cash flow to make sure that your business is running and can cover expenses. A lot of times business owners, they will look at the bottom line on their profit and loss, and they will say, hey, we're making money. But guess what? We don't have money in the checking account.
And someone comes by and says, I've got something really special you ought to buy, whether it's my business or a new piece of equipment or whatever. Are you going to have the money to invest if you're not paying attention to cash flows? You can't just spend it because you want to. It's got to fit within your cash flow.
Absolutely. So, I mean, if you're, let's say you're a freelancer and you're tracking, you have to make sure that you track all your invoices payment to ensure you are getting paid on time and you have good cash flow, because on paper, your receivable are way out there, but in your checking account, you don't have the cash. So
And a good system that you've set up will remind you need some customers just need to be nudged that they need to pay you. They sit around, they go past 30-day net because they're busy and forgetful and or maybe the cash for them isn't there, but you'll need to nudge them because you need that cash too. So
Michael, I really like what you just mentioned about having a system. I mean, some of you, maybe you have to go back and revisit how you get paid. Do you ask for upfront half, and then when you finish the project, the remainder? Or do you, if they constantly go over your terms, let's say 30 days, you charge them interest rate? Because if you're low on cash and you have to take from your line of credit, guess what? You're accruing interest payment. You did not calculate in your budget because you're assuming that your customers will pay you in the time frame you put into your terms. So be creative when you're putting together. I mean, when you approach your cash flow.
Another example that you have on it that I think is very important is in managing that cash flow. Let's say you're running a restaurant and you know that Friday nights and Saturday nights are really big nights. You're going to sell a lot of good food. It's a big night of bringing in cash flow, but you have to have that food ready to go on Thursday. That's when you buy it and put it in the freezer or the refrigerator. Do you have the cash flow on Thursday to buy the food you're going to need for Friday and Saturday night? Well, you need a way to manage your cash flow to be sure you can prepare for the big nights of the week by getting out ahead. If you're short on cash on Thursday night, it's going to be a scramble Friday and Saturday. You don't want that. So cash flow planning, cash flow management is really, really important. And we have tools.
Yeah, absolutely, Michael. That's what ready to say. It's like, utilizing financial software and tools. They will streamline your accounting processes. They will reduce the errors and provide valuable insights into your business financial health. Just use them. They will help you tremendously.
Yes, and Float and Pulse are two examples of things you should look up and say, does this work for me?
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing what AI is going to be doing to help you with some of these things.
Yes, there is a lot. FreshBooks. I mean, we're just mentioning few of them, but just utilize ones that simply to use and don't complicate your life. And there's a lot, and I know that some of them are a little bit more expensive than others. So just research, talk to your accountant, talk to your friends, entrepreneurs. I'm sure that they're utilizing some of these tools, and they may tell you, hey, I use this and it's not working, but I'm using this. It's very, very convenient and very fast to get to learn, because the learning curve on some of these tools are longer than others. So just have this in mind. And one other tip, Michael, is understanding financial statements and their importance. There is a lot of free lessons out there. You can learn what kind of financial statements you should be looking at and how you should be reading them.
And you can keep them going by implementing various types of software that help you with bookkeeping, that generate the reports you need. For example, you need to learn to look at your balance sheet, your assets and your liability positions. What do you owe long term? What are you building in terms of the equity of your business? All those things, you can now get help with the software and particularly the artificial intelligence software that is being developed. There's a phenomenal number of tools. You need to look at them, assess them for yourself. But you do need to understand your financial statements. Don't try to run a business thinking that, well, as Anna said a little bit ago, I'm making money. I can see it. It's in the drawer, or it's wherever. No, that doesn't guarantee anything. So understanding how to read financial statements is really, really critical. And it's when we're in a business brand new, it's something we don't think about. I'm sorry, Anna, go ahead.
No, that's perfectly all right. And once you start reading your financial statement, that's our last tip, is like reducing cost and increasing profitability based on your financial reporting. Once you know how to read it, you will be able to identify areas of your business where you will be able to reduce cost and increase profitability. Extremely, extremely important.
And if any of you out there are running a nonprofit, we don't want you to think you're forgotten. I'm going to tell you that you don't think you have to look at a profit and loss statement. Yes, you do. Because yes, nonprofits are supposed to be break even, but in fact, you need to be putting a bit of money in the bank as a reserve to cover the uncertainties that we've already talked about. Nonprofits need to make a little bit extra. Indeed, we don't call it profit because they don't give it away to owners. They set it aside for the unexpected. So even there, you need to understand your financial statements and their importance.
Michael, can you share with us some actionable insights from our conversation today?
We need to start with the basics. You need to create a simple budget. I think monthly you create a new budget. Annually, you create a 12-month budget, and you check it regularly, especially for cash flow regularity. You use technology. It's there now. No excuses anymore, folks. You got technology that can help you get it done. You review things regularly. I think every week you ought to know whether it's been a good week or a bit of a weak week, a not so good week, and how do you make it better next week? And finally, do seek professional help when it's available to you, from consulting firms to software to all these wonderful tools that are available. And talk with all your colleagues who are also in business. Find out what they're using. Talk with each other to learn how to do these things to make your business more financially strong and better managed.
You've been listening to the Small Business Survival Conversation podcast. Make sure to like, rate, and review the show. And don't forget to join us next week for another episode. In the meantime, hook up with us on our Facebook group at Small Business Survival Tools and Tips. Till next time, thank you for listening.